Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to provide an update on the work that's undergoing right now. I want to say first off that we have a strong team that's absolutely committed to repairing this feeder main break as soon as we can so that we can once again ensure the reliable and secure supply of water that all Calgarians and our regional customers depend on. We're working around the clock to make that happen. So with that, if you can see up here, I want to walk you through some of the work that we've completed to date, where we're at, and what we anticipate to be some next steps. When the initial water leak was found on site on Wednesday night, reported to us, crews came out to locate that leak. As you can imagine, this was a bit simpler with the amount of water compared to a usual leak that's much smaller. And in this case, that next task for us, the most important, was to turn the water off and stop the water from flowing, which was not necessarily an easy task with such a large pipe that we had there. At that point, underground gas, sewer, water, and as you heard, working with our electrical partners, telecom, other utilities, it's very important for safety that we're locating those and marking those. Water was removed from the site, and as you may have seen from some of the photos that we've had on social media, you can see that there was a lot of water there, and it was a big effort to get that water off the site and clear that. That takes us to the weekend. We've been simultaneously right now getting ready for the repair of the pipe while assessing the condition and completing many technical tests to understand the extent of the repairs that we need. This is a very critical stage for us, and it's going to take some time to complete. Yesterday, crews started cutting the pipe so the damaged portion can be removed. We completed a preliminary assessment of the extent of the damage, and we will continue that assessment once the damaged pipe is fully removed. I'd like to share with you today that we cut the first slice of the pipe. This is the first step, and you can see the image here behind me. The first step to remove the compromised sections, and which we aim to complete by the end of today. The picture here is that first cut, and we need that in order to get to the other parts of the pipe. Once the compromised sections of the pipe are removed, then we will be sending a mini robot. It's like a robot. Yes, it's a little device, certainly with sensors, that does a condition assessment. We're going to send that 100 meters each direction so that we can have a look inside that pipe to see what's going on. Once that assessment is done, it will tell us if we need some additional parts, pieces, give us much more information. Next step for us is to put the new piece into place. Based on our current assessment and information, we have all the parts to complete this repair, and that we've outlined in that plan. But we want to make sure we know what we're dealing with at all parts along the way. So we're going to make sure that that assessment is complete and confirm that we have all we need before the crews can start the section and completing the welding, which would be the next step. Some repair work can continue to proceed concurrently with that conditional assessment. So we're doing two things, and you can see both of those steps as we move forward. Once the install is finished, the pipe will be filled with chlorinated water to disinfect it. We then pressurize the feeder main, the big pipe full of water. We add pressure to it. We're going to test the repair, and then we will have to flush that pipe through hydrants on the streets for safety purposes. Due to the size of the pipe we're repairing, this step alone is a large portion of the plan, and it will take a few days to complete. There are several steps in our plan that we currently have that we are continuing to refine with the information that the teams are bringing to the table. We're doing that with our colleagues at Alberta Health Services, and we work lockstep together to ensure public safety and a solid plan, refining that plan as we move forward. At this time, it remains too early to say when the boil water advisory or the restrictions will need to be lifted. What I want to say, and I also want to thank, so many of you have reached out and you're concerned about the staff down on the site. It's really appreciated. What I would ask though, so folks down there our good team that's working tirelessly can focus on the work that I've just described to you. Really appreciate that. Please let them do their work. We're passing on your kudos and compliments, and we're going to do that more regularly. We were just talking about that before we came out here so that we can share your appreciation for them. So please keep that coming in. It's really helpful. I want to assure you that our crews, engineers, and teams are working around the clock to get this work done. One thing I want to address, and many of you have reached out and asked, hey, I live in the South. I actually live in the South, and I've got some neighbors who were chatting with me. Why should I save water down here when isn't the main break up in Bowness? And so I wanted to illustrate a little bit what that looks like so we can explain that. It's truly about our ability to get water to all communities at this time that's been severely compromised due to the pipe break. So what we've got here on the image that I'd like to show you, it's very simplified, but really essentially there are 2 water treatment plants in the city of Calgary. One in the north, the star on the left-hand side before the water make, that's our largest plant. Bears Paw Water Treatment Plant typically would provide 60% of water to the entire city. And at the bottom is our little engine, the smaller plant, Glenmore Water Treatment Plant, that typically provides water to the south. And so, and you can see that there are some connections to some of our regional customers shown here on the left. Typically how that water would move around. The system in the north and the south have connections in a variety of places. One of the biggest places that those are connected is what we no longer have that comes from Bears Paw Water Treatment Plant. So when you look to after the main break, you can see that Glenmore Treatment Plant in the south is actually pumping water to the east and the north of the city. It is truly that treatment plant, and the pipes coming out of it are the little engine that could. The entire pipe network is connected, and the more water usage that the entire pipe network is connected, and the more water usage in one area means less in another part of the city. We are pumping at capacity and very carefully taking care of that plant, and we'll continue to monitor reservoir levels, but that plant in the south, you can see, is pumping to a much larger part of the city. You can see up to the north as well as the south. So every drop counts. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about what we're dealing with right now. With that, again, as we've understood today, we're reaching the numbers that we're after. Really appreciate everyone's work. Our target is to keep our demand no more than 480 million litres, and you've surpassed that target. You can see where we're getting that water here in the new system. So